Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's December. It is December. So I told that, hey Shannon, how are you? My doctoral student friend, how are you? I told earlier today, I told Karen, I said, all day I've been telling everybody it's December, and then I've been pausing for dramatic effect, just because I feel like, oh my gosh, it's December. I need to make sure that I let that really sink in. But it is December 1st. I am so excited to have everyone with us tonight. I'm going to jump right in. We have a lot we're going to cover. I also have a special guest that is planning on joining us towards the middle part, and I've got saved some time for her to be able to share some things with us today. So I'm going to jump right in as soon as I get my other earpiece in here. And we're going to get started. And we're also going to do something a little different today, because one of the things that I want to talk to you about, it was just so much. I would not have been able to do it justice by putting it on slides. So we're actually going to just jump right in when we get to that part. And I'm going to go straight, as they say, to the horse's mouth. So having said that, I am going to share. Everyone can see this, yes? Implementing an integrated curriculum that is equitable, responsive, inclusive, and sustainable. Thanks, Karen. I see your thumbs up. Y'all know who I am. I'm Dr. Taylor, Antoinette Taylor. I am your host. Well, I am your facilitator for the evening. This is Foundation of Teaching and Learning, assembly required. As much as we would like, Tinkerbell does not come along and sprinkle the magic dust, or like in the play where they say, clap real hard, boys and girls, and Tinkerbell will come to life. There's no easy way to do teaching and learning except for to put all of these pieces of standards and assessments and initiatives and CQIPs and requirements together. And that means there's some assembly required. This is our third time together for the 21-22 school year. So I'm excited to have you all, as I've said. Next up, we won't see each other again until January. What you see before you will be our final 3 times together. January 11th, observation and assessment. We know we're teaching. Number one, we're tired at the end of every day. The question we really want to answer and find out is, are the students learning? And then on February 2nd, we're going to define multi-tier system of supports in early childhood education and care. March 2nd, we're going to, after we've defined it, then we're going to actually create and talk about implementing it. And I'm so excited because the Division of Exceptional Children for early childhood, the multi-tiered system of support writings are ready, and they will be premiered when we come together on February 2nd. I was blessed to be a member of, as you can see here, the national writing team and planning team with DEC for this paper. And let me just tell you, years of my life went towards this. We actually started talking about updating this paper in October of 2017. It was formerly known as the Response to Intervention Position Paper Statement. And after Every Student Succeeds Act was put into law, we were going back over and looking at that paper and realizing some things needed to be updated to be more in accordance with the Every Student Succeeds Act. So that was 2017, as I said, October 2017. And here we are all the way in 2021. The papers are released. So I'm really excited to share that process with you all when we come together in March. So a little bit about me. See some more people coming on in the room. Hey there, Miss Latanya. just hello to everyone. Denise, seeing everyone in here. Shannon, I feel like you and I would have been in 500 meetings by now if it weren't for the pandemic together. And so you know that this is sponsored by Early Childhood Professional Learning in collaboration with Kindergarten Individual Development Survey. And for those of you who don't know, this Thursday is the Kids Summit. So anyone from kindergarten up, you've probably been seeing tons and tons of emails about the Kids Summit. Normally in December, this is done in December face-to-face, but the past two ones have been virtual. So that is the same case this year. December 2nd from 4 to 7 is the Kids Summit. The professional learning coordinator across the state is Michelle Escapa. So between ECPL and collaboration with kids, the Pre-2K project is born. And the Pre-2K collaboration is actually inspired by the Kindergarten Transition Advisory Committee report. For those of you that have been with me before, we have talked about that. There is always a link that I will share with you so that you'll know what that full report says. But long story short, the General Assembly in 2017 actually created a committee to study, oddly enough, why we have a problem with children transitioning from early childhood education and care to kindergarten. Something that's literally been happening since the early 1900s. Children have been leaving Head Start, going into kindergarten, yet we found ourselves in the 21st century not quite having smooth transitions for students, for families, even educators from early childhood education and care to kindergarten. So this resolution was put forth that formed the Kindergarten Transition Advisory Committee. They were charged with creating a report and submitting it to the General Assembly and the governor. That report came out 2018. And what ECPL, under the direction of Cindy Berry, and kids under the direction of Michelle Escapa, along with the program manager of ECPL, Lynn Burgett, took that paper and said, we don't want this just to be something that sits somewhere and collects dust. Really went through the recommendations that come out as 3 findings. Everything is under aligned teaching and learning, aligned assessment and data, and strengthening cross-sector partnerships. Took that, created a ton of resources for programs and districts to use to really elevate and strengthen their children that go from pre-K to K, hence Pre-2K project. Want to share some housekeeping things with you today. We do not have our magnifying glass out when it comes to grammar. This is a safe space. Any of you that are, if you've been in school recently, or if you are in school now, you are familiar with Grammarly. It's that little resource tool that you can use to help you when you're writing papers. Make sure you've got all your commas and semicolons and everything in the right place. This is a safe space for that. We are not magnifying any of our grammar or anything today. So whenever you're in the chat, just jump right in there. Get your thoughts in there. This is a no judgment zone. We're going to go straight through, especially tonight, everyone, because I've got so much to share with you. We are not going to take a formal break. You're going to use self-care. I've got my little teacup, so to speak, that I'm going to be sipping from as we are going through today. But if you need to get up, stretch your legs, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, do the round the world with your head, get up and do that. If you need to use the bathroom, feel free to do that. Keep yourself on mute. Keep the volume up so that you can hear, get your tea, get your coffee, get your hot chocolate, and then come on back and join us. So you're going to practice self-care on your own and take a break whenever you need it, because we will be going straight through. I say this every time. I don't give you as much time back at the end as I intend to, but it's December. This is the holiday period. I'm going to really be true to my word. I've got my phone here so I can really literally time myself. Try to give you your time back on the end. So rather than having a break, you'll get your time back on the end, so to speak. So again, if you need to go, come back, feel free to do that. Keep that volume up though, because you don't want to miss any of this great and wonderful information. And I just want to make sure Denise, hey Jamie, how are you? I see that, hello there. Denise Wood, you are with us tonight, yes? I thought I saw that name there. Okay, I do see you. I just saw your thumbs up, Denise. Okay, because I've got something. She doesn't know I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna actually call on Denise to do something a little bit later on today. Okay, now that we've got all the niceties and the housekeeping out of the way, hello to all of you. Here we go with our first group of chats. You're going to jump right in the chat and you're going to tell me your current role. You'll notice if you've been with me before, in response to you all and who has been joining us, I added in something which is related services. Usually that's been people say, I'm other, I'm the speech path, I'm the social worker. We've had so many times where we've had related services with us. I actually created a bullet point for that. So wherever you see yourself here, jump in the chat. Oh, you know what, Miss Tanya? You don't have to tell me. I need to add instructional leader in here. Yep, I sure do. And next time you see me, that will definitely be in there. And I'll just let you all know, we're going to have quite a few chats coming up. Then you'll get a bit of a break. Oh my gosh, Dana. Woo! Let me go back up to this. Teacher, assistant preschool, teacher assistant preschool education. Woohoo! Special education is in the house. Teacher assistant. Yes, Dana, thank you for joining. And I'm always very, very partial to special education because I just am. Bobby, administrator. Denise, pre-K teacher assistant. I got you, Miss Latanya. You will not be on here again without seeing that that own bullet point for instructional coach there. Sorry about that. Pre-K teacher. Oh, okay, at risk and blended. So already I'm going off script. Janine, would you mind coming off mute and sharing a little bit more about your work?
Yeah, I teach for preschool for all, full day, and so I have this year I'm capped at 14 kids, but I have they're all at risk for different various reasons, and I have 2 children with IEPs, and that number could go up. Normally we have 20, but with the limited space, we have 14 this year.
And Janine, are you teaching with another teacher?
I have a para in the classroom, and we have another preschool classroom in the we're full day in the elementary buildings. Oh, so wow. we have another preschool in the same building.
Okay, thank you so much. And Brenda, community outreach, would you share?
Sure. I actually work for a PFA program in Peoria County. We serve preschool throughout 14 school districts. So my role is to go out into the communities and find those children for our preschool programs. And I do a lot of the screenings and work in conjunction with our Special Education Association, also of Peoria County. So I screen along with them.
Wow, Brenda, we'd be lost without you. My daughter used to work for kinder care in Peoria, so we'd certainly be
Yes.
lost without you.
Yep.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Denise Woods, pre-K teacher, assistant administrator. Denise, I am going to be calling on you in just a second. So I know she's like, oh my gosh, what is she going to do? It's going to be real easy, Denise. Don't worry about it. I've got you covered. Bobby Clove, did I say that last name right? Clough?
It's Clow, but nobody ever gets it right.
Cloud, okay, and you are an administrator, and will you share a little bit about that? Are you an administrator in a pre-K program, the district level? What can you share a little bit about that?
At a private preschool, 3 and 4 year olds.
Yay, welcome. Welcome to our private partners. Reading resource, Miss Sitton, team teacher, Corey. Got a lot of lead teachers on today. Look at that. Hey, Joyce, music teacher. I love this. Love, love, love it. We're going to actually be talking about how the arts play into an integrated curriculum. I love the infant pre-K, how smart we are to keep music with our infants all the way up to pre-K, especially now because of the pandemic. Everyone is so concerned, oh, what are the children lost? What do we need to cut out? Nothing. We need to keep the arts. We've got to keep music. We've got to keep the arts in our curriculum. Instead of taking them out, we just want to learn how to integrate them. And of course, nobody knows how to integrate across the domains and across curriculum more than early childhood education and care professionals. Got another chat coming up for you. What type of program do you have? Going to put that right in the chat as well. And I will, as you are doing that, I'll jump in and start reading. And that K up, preschool for all. And we've got some very, very, a really special, I'm so excited about the incorporation of community-based Head Start resource for today. And I just really cannot wait to get to it for everyone. I think you all are really going to enjoy it. Private daycare located with the Joyce, you got to come off mute and tell us about that. Private daycare located within a retirement community. Stephanie, I hope you're getting all of this.
Yeah, it's kind of a great interaction between old folks that need care and the little ones that need care. And with COVID, we haven't had as much interaction as we usually do, but typically our Christmas program featured a lot of the senior residents who would sing with us and do narration for us and help us with our drama. So it's a great group.
And where are you located?
We're in Arlington Heights.
Oh my gosh. You know, ECPL is, I know they really haven't been in the building that much since March, but ECPL, Early Childhood Professional Learning, they are located in Arlington Heights in the IRC building.
Yes, I've spoken with them on the phone, but I haven't been to their building.
Gosh, I hope that we see you on, that is just so really, really interesting and so important now, and of all time, so important now. Thank you for sharing about that.
Sure.
So Karen is putting in the chat, we're not, that ECPL is not far from the Lutheran Home Child Care, about 10 minutes away. I can't wait to tell Cindy Berry about that. Okay, and then I see Shannon in here. Shannon.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hey, babe, how are you?
Having lunch now. That's why my camera will be off.
I was gonna say she's eating her lunch at almost 4:30 p.m. There goes the life of a director, a doctoral student in this time of teaching and learning that we are in. I'm so happy to have you here with us today, though, Shannon. Know we got some good stuff for you, and I'll be checking in later on that, where we at on that doctoral degree, my dear.
Let's not talk about that now.
We'll do that offline, as they say. I'll call you.
Sounds good.
Okay, got another chat for you all. Your purpose for joining the conversation today. And this is actually, Denise, get ready, because this is where I'm actually going to stop sharing and come off mute, and then I'm going to ask Denise to share something with us. Bobby, thank you so much. And I love it, Leanne. Thank you for giving me that reminder, because some of us, and we all know this is a safe space. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the early childhood education and care community stays in the early childhood education and care community. But in the midst of all of this that's been going on, Illinois State Board of Education, because of our ESSA plan and the Department of Education, what are they still saying? It is important. You must have your CEUs, right? You must have your CEUs, your continuing education units. So I'm perfectly fine with people saying, I am only here because I need these CEUs. Give them to me and let's get out of here. So I love that candidness. Hopefully you come for the CEUs, but you'll stay for the information. And Leanne has just shared that, so I really appreciate that. Oh, Jamie, did the class in this series and interested in learning more. Thank you. And there you go. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading, and then I'm gonna, Emily, also for the PD, any information that can make me a better educator, teacher is always appreciated. And Corey, isn't that, you know, if you are in Preschool for All or Head Start, everybody's always talking about continuous quality improvement for the children, but the only way we can have that continuous quality improvement for children is to have it for ourselves. And I say this every time, and I say it only because I mean it. There's a lot going on since March 20. I do not take it lightly at all that you work the whole day and then spend a part of your evening with me through ECPL, the invitation of ECPL. I don't take it lightly at all. When I'm creating these, I'm just thinking about the very fact that in spite of it all, you're still engaging to do exactly as you said. I want to be a better educator. I don't want to rest on my laurels. Am I a good educator? Yes. Am I a great educator? Yes. I don't want to rest on my laurels. I'm always interested in learning more and want to do more. So I love that anything that talks about inclusivity piques my interest. Ann Kramer would love you, Janine. That's something that she's always talking about when we talk about inclusive classroom practices, wanting to learn about inclusive and responsive environments. Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Were you at Katie's Kids, Kinder Care, Kayla? Come off mute.
I was at Katie's Kids with Angelica.
I thought your name sounded familiar. I'm certainly going to, with your permission, let her know that you joined me tonight. Oh my, are you still at, you all, if you all have been with me before, you all know how I do. We're just having a conversation together tonight. So here we go. I'm getting ready to stop sharing. Kayla, are you still with Katie's Kids?
I am not. I'm at the Illinois State University Child Care Center now.
She just talked to me about you. Okay, I'm gonna definitely tell her. She'll be happy to know that you joined tonight. And please come on back anytime and bring all of your colleagues with you. Now, Denise had no idea I was going to do this. And I'm sure right now she's wondering, should I pretend, get booted out of the room, or should I trust Antoinette for what she's about to do? I sent Denise a direct message and asked if she wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about her journey to early childhood. And then I'm going to share with you all why I asked her. So Denise, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of your journey to early childhood education and care, I would appreciate it. Just a
Okay.
little brief sharing, and I'll tell everybody why I asked her to do that.
Okay. Well, first of all, I did not receive, or I haven't seen your direct message, but that's okay. I became a teacher in 1982. But I taught mostly in first grade for 31 years, and then I retired, and I've been retired since 2017. And I just saw an ad that the local daycare had a State Board of Education PFA opening for half a day. And I was intrigued because I've been subbing since I retired, but I wanted something regular that I knew I would be doing every day. And I hit it off with the directors, and here I am. But boy, just because I have the license for pre-K, that is not a substitute for the experience. And so I'm just really cramming, trying to learn as I go along. And it's my, I don't know what the word is, monitoring year or whatever for Eckers. So pressure's on.
Okay. Wow, Denise, thank you so much for sharing that. And please, please, please make sure that you stay in touch with the ECPL. They're offering a lot of preschool for all administrators forms. Typically, the forms would be done face-to-face at the beginning of every other year, but because of the pandemic, Cindy Berry has been doing something a little different this year in collaboration with the State Board of Education. She's been doing them virtually, like one, I think it, Karen, is it like one every other month? They've been happening. So there've already been one about unpacking and understanding the compliance checklist. So if you were not able to be on that, and that's just not for Denise, any of you, if you were not able to be on that one, I believe that they have been recorded and are available for you. But just keep watching out for the ECPL on their website, because there are several, there's one coming up on mental health that I just cannot wait for. There's one I know that's coming up on mental health. I think that one is next. And there's a couple other that is going to be happening. There it is. It's in the chat, everyone. You can review the recordings on ECPL's YouTube page. So if you missed that one, Denise, or anyone else, you can go to the page and you can find it. November, they just did one on the Illinois Risk and Reach report. And I mean, it was so good. It actually takes the very large Illinois Risk and Reach report. The presenter was Senator Christina Pacione-Zayas, who used to be with Erickson, and she actually still is with Erickson in a consulting role. And it takes that very, very large report, and she showed people how to get to that information that is specifically connected to your district. So what does enrollment look like in your district? How many children are eligible versus the children who are not there? Really, really good. And then as you see here, Karen is putting in the chat, the next one is January 26th, Seizing the Moment, Infant Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation. So please make sure that you stay connected to ECPL. And I will also tell you, Denise, why I asked you to do that. When Cindy Berry came to me about this series, she was so concerned because she kept saying, she said, Antoinette, we are not thinking about all of the teachers out there who are graduating from college and haven't had any training on the standards. Teachers who maybe started in first grade or third grade and then ended up in early childhood education care and preschool. We're not connecting enough with our Head Start and community-based organization partners. And so when she came to me and asked me to create this series, and I know this sounds so cliche, but she literally did it with you in mind. The people like Denise are all of a sudden is like, hey, I'm teaching pre-K, but my whole career was in first grade or second grade. Many administrators have reached out to Cindy and said, you know, I was voluntold from my district that this year I'm going to be the PFA or the PFAE liaison, but all of their experiences in middle school. So all of this is so that we have an opportunity, if we are familiar with it, there's always going back and as I say, familiarity. We don't want it to breed contempt. There's no harm in ever going back and reviewing, but for all of those people out there that find themselves in early childhood education and care, and the standards were implemented way back in 2013, 14, and MTSS has grown up from RTI to MTSS. This really is to give everyone that opportunity to have a great expertise in the work that you are doing. So thank you so much, Denise, for being able to share that. I know there might be others of you out there, but Denise shared that in an earlier webinar that we did, and I just wanted to kind of bring that forth today. So thanks for sharing, Denise.
And thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and then as we go on, just gonna get myself back in here. We are really going to be moving right along today. So if you have any questions that we don't get to, any wonderings, or if you get one of those huh or aha or uh-oh moments, if we don't get to it today, here is how you can reach me. You just go to www.atexceptional.com. As soon as it makes sure that you're not a robot, you can send a message directly to me. It doesn't go to a secretary or anything else. In fact, it actually comes not only to my email address, but it also gives me a ding on my phone as well, because we don't want to miss anything. So again, if I don't get to something that you were thinking about, or you have a question and I didn't get to it, that's the perfect way for you to be able to reach me. And between myself and Karen and the team at ECPL, we will make sure that we get your questions answered. You all know how I feel about the breakout rooms. What was the question again? What are we supposed to be doing? There's always that lone person that's still in the main room and everybody is in the breakout room. And then once everybody gets in the breakout room, the little timer goes off and we're back in the main room. So I call that the breakout room dilemma. I don't use them. This is how we'll be communicating with each other today, as we've already been doing. We're going to come off mute. We're going to jump in the chat. And that is how we'll do the bulk of our communicating. And I want to call your attention again. Karen has put in the chat, January 26th is the mental health Preschool for All Administrators Forum. And if you're not an administrator, you can join these. So I don't want anyone that's on today to feel like, well, I'm not an administrator. If you're able to get that 1 to 2:30, join. I can't wait for February. It's going to be my good friend Sergio Hernandez, who is the State Board of Education Family Engagement Coordinator. He's going to be doing something really great on February 9th, and I'm so excited for what he's doing. He has done so much in our state around the family engagement framework. He has a heart for early childhood. That family engagement framework has been in draft for years, and Sergio, ever since he took the role as family engagement coordinator, he's worked tirelessly to keep it, to update it and make it relevant, particularly for the times that we are in now. So February 9th, save the date. And one other thing you might be interested in is the on-demand professional learning introduction to ECHRS 3. So Denise, this might be very helpful for you, and you can actually get this on demand using this link. So I want to call everyone's attention to that, so that you can pull that out and then drop it in your, your go-to folder afterwards. Okay, we've got some more questions, some more Q&A coming up. Here's our goals today. Curriculum, what it is and what it isn't. How do we integrate it? Got a great resource for that. What is the equitable, responsive, and inclusive part of integrating any curriculum? And then last but not least, sustainability. We want to get this information, we want to seal it so that we can work smarter, not harder. So starting off, how do you define curriculum? Like, what is it anyway? How do you define curriculum? In the chat, go ahead and put that in. You're in good hands, Denise. How do you define curriculum? Okay, Jamie says the framework for the program. A tool to guide instruction. Thanks, Leanne. Guidance for teaching. Emily, the plan for the class. Oh, wow, look at that, Joyce. My roadmap to quality teaching, the daily, weekly, monthly guidance in the classroom. The plans for the class, Emily. Sharon. Content taught with best practices. Approved. Ooh, must be approved. If you are a granted program, your curriculum must be approved. The State Board of Education does not endorse any curriculum, but they have a list of curriculums that are approved by the state. And the only way to be an approved curriculum in this state is it has to be aligned with the Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards. The what you plan to teach, the method by which we introduce, Janine, the big ideas to our student and the ways in which we let them explore topics and ideas. So right there, I'm already excited. Is play-based curriculum all just playing? Are we sitting around singing Ring Around the Roses and the Barney song and Sesame Street and Arthur the Aardvark? No, exploration. It's exploration-based curriculum, inquiry-based curriculum, inquisitive-based curriculum, independent-based curriculum. Play does not mean we're sitting around playing patty cake all day long, right? It's exploration. We are inquiry-based. I love that. Let them explore topics and ideas. Hands-on based curriculum. A lot of ways we can use synonyms for play to help our colleagues in higher grades. Sometimes we need to educate administrators. Play-based learning does not mean that we're just sitting around, doing hula hoop all day long. A plan that involves age-appropriate activities. We spent November talking about developmentally appropriate practices. Any means to, let me see, I want to go back up. Ooh, the what you plan to teach. Content taught with best practices. The method by which we introduce our big ideas. A plan that involves age-appropriate activities. Yes, there it is, Corey. Any means of ways to help children learn in an environment suitable for their needs, right? So the curriculum is meant to fit the student. The student is not meant to fit the curriculum. And that's really important when we're talking about that equitable and responsive. We take that curriculum and we make their curriculum has to be responsive to the needs of the children. Are they children who have disabilities? The curriculum needs to be responsive to that. Children who are multilingual learners, the curriculum needs to be responsive to that. children who are 3, 4, and 5, but as grandma used to say, they're an old soul and they look like they're going on 13, 14, and 15. The curriculum's got to be responsive to that. And then Ms. Latanya said a developmentally appropriate guide to provide instruction to develop academic goals. So see, the intent is always the goal. How do we know the goal? Not the curriculum, the standards. Because guess what? As I said before, the State Board of Education does not endorse any curriculum. So what that means is across the state, preschool for all expansion programs, community-based private programs. Janine's talking about, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but play is the serious learning. I just was actually in a meeting yesterday, and somebody was talking about Mr. Rogers, which don't we miss Mr. Rogers? May he continue to rest in peace. And when we talk about curriculum, it's important to remember the curriculum is your source. What makes it equitable is the standards. Because all over this state, we've got private, we've got Head Start, we've got charter programs, we've got PFA, we have the North Side, we have the South Side, we have rural communities. Every community gets to choose their own curriculum. The equitable piece that makes sure that every child that is experiencing that early childhood education and care learning opportunity, the equity is that the standard gives us one bullseye, right? Our target is, you all know I have to do this. Boop, the standards, my little flip chart. And if it wasn't for the flip chart, look, I don't even have to get up out of my chair. Boop, I just grab my book, the standards. The standards is the equity. And that equity means AIR defines equity by saying that children have the same opportunity for high quality learning, regardless of race, gender, where they live, who their teacher is. So the standard says whatever that curriculum is you're using, and I'm just going to read this standard. It's a science standard. Every child in early childhood education and care has the opportunity to demonstrate curiosity about the world and begin to use the practices of science and look at that engineering to answer questions and solve problems. That's equity. The responsive piece is when you take that curriculum, you look at the standard is the target, then I respond to the needs of the children. And then when we talk about observation and assessment, that's how I document my response to the children's learning and their response to my teaching. Okay, so we're already off to a good start. I love it, love this. So now that we've defined curriculum, let's talk about what curriculum you are using. Go ahead and put that in the chat. And many programs are using more than one. Many programs are using more than one. And that's also one of the reasons why Cindy has us include multi-tiered system of support, because many programs are using the Haggerty, Big Day, project approach. Okay, Anissa, that is so very honest. I love that. Anissa, I did see you come in just a little bit late. I don't mean to put you on the spot at all, but would you mind sharing a little bit about like your current role and where you are teaching right now? Just come right on off mute and share. We are all family here.
Hi, I'm actually have a group daycare home. And I do something a little bit different than most. I prepare the children for selective enrolled schools. So the curriculum that I do is based on where they are and then build them up from there. So it's not, when you said that the curriculum is to fit the child is to, I can't remember, you said fit
The
the child?
curriculum adapts to the child, or as the
Right.
educator, we make sure that curriculum fits the child. The child doesn't have to be pushed into the curriculum.
Right. So I do it a little different. I meet them where they are, and then I build them up from there based on what I know their capabilities are from where they are.
No, that's it. No, you're doing it perfectly right. We go to where the children are. We use the curriculum with the standards, right? To
That's the
bring
thing.
the
I'm still
children-
learning. You sent me the book, and I'm still learning them because I've always done it my way without knowing the standards. But I'm actually open and trying to use these new standards of mine. Well, the new standards that I'm learning, and surrounding myself in that when I'm teaching.
Thank you so much. And I remembered you from the first one. So I now this is, let's just pause for a station break. I see all these people like mentally, like note to self, do not join any more of Antoinette's train. She will call you out and have you talk about it. But I remember, Anissa, from earlier on, the first one, you were sharing that. And so thank you again for sharing tonight, because those are the important things that we all need to hear so that we can be a community of educators that really support and seek and share wisdom from each other. And again, Cindy Berry is the project director of ECPL, and it's people like you, as I shared earlier before you came on, you know, she's constantly reaching out to me and saying, Antoinette, what about the people who are out there in single programs, don't have anyone, kind of sharing, you know, what the state is doing, these evidence-based practices. So I really appreciate you saying, you know, Dr. Taylor, you know, Antoinette, I saw him and I'm trying to work it out. And listen, what's the rush, right? Remember, the standards tell us it is where the child will be at the end of their time with us, not the first day of school, the last day of school. So we have time, you know, we don't want to just sit back and look, oh, I got all day, I don't have to be there till May or June, but we also don't want to rush to judgment in anything that we do, so that we take our time and really plan appropriately, so that we can get it right, so to speak. And I see many of you are saying, you're using my creative curriculum. Kayla, project approach. Of course, I know that because you and Angelica work together. Yeah, creative curriculum, my teaching standards, it's the assessment tool. A lot of people say, oh, our curriculum is the pyramid model. There's the Haggerty approach. There's so many things out there. So this is what we want to look at and try to understand. Curriculum defined versus curriculum selected. Your curriculum selected, it is a tool or a resource that you use to implement the Illinois Early Learning Guidelines, the Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards, the new Illinois Learning Standards, and tonight we're going to introduce the early learning outcomes framework that comes from Head Start. The true meaning of defining curriculum is everything that happens from the time children enter the learning environment until the time they leave. So that includes lunch, assemblies, community-based instructions. What else? What else fills in those question marks? Eckers 3 says that if children are awake, they should be learning. So they don't stop it and say, well, it's morning circle, right? Every moment that children are awake, they should be learning. Now, that does not mean that we're in their face when it's time to put their coat, like it's winter time, now they come and they've got their coats on. We're not saying, what's your letter? What letter is this? A, what letter, what color is that? Orange, very good. It's not saying that. They are really saying teachable moments. That is what curriculum is. So when we have, and I know of course nowadays we're really not doing field trips and things like that, but community-based instruction is considered what we normally would call field trips. When children are going to the bathroom, do we have a plan for that? When children are having assemblies, what's the plan for that? Your curriculum literally is like from the doorknob of the school to the bus or the car home. And if truth be told, if we really connect the homeschool connection, that curriculum really has the long arm of the law into the home, right? Because we want to partner with our families and we want to say, hey, you know, this is what we're doing here in the class, and it will help the children in meeting these standards because we want to get them ready for kindergarten, or if we have any of our PI prevention initiative colleagues on today, we want to get them ready for preschool, Head Start, from early Head Start to Head Start. We want our families to engage with us. And so that's why we do it through the standards. So really the curriculum is everything. We don't want to take anything and say, oh, well, that's gross motor. And Eckers 3 says we have to have 30 minutes of gross motor. So that's just when we give the kids opportunity to move. That's curriculum. What is our intent? So whatever you've selected, you should be able to use that. The standards is your plate, right? It holds everything. The curriculum is your source. Right? So like the curriculum is how you, for lack of a better word, it's like if you were to say the standards is your meal, right? You need a way to eat that meal, digest it. That the curriculum is the tool that you use. The definition of curriculum, I want all of it. And that's why we're talking about integrating it, right? Because if I'm integrating it, that means I'm finding a way to connect lunch to bathroom breaks, to our entry routine, our departure routine, community-based instruction. And even though we, you know, now that's really not happening that much, the Chicago Children's Museum, they pivoted and they have been doing a lot of virtual experiences where classes can do virtual field trips. Anything, assemblies, you know, the holiday period is coming up. A lot of schools are going to be doing assemblies. All of that is wrapped into your curriculum because we never lose our intent that we're trying to assembly required, right? We're building children. And in order to do that, we use our standards. So thank you all so much for sharing. I'm so excited about the ideas you had about curriculum. Now, today, how we're going to pull this together, we're going to use Naeyc, their developmentally appropriate practice paper, and we are going to use the Head Start Early Learning Outcomes Framework. Now, if you were with me in November, we talked about developmentally appropriate, right? And I said to you all, if you were with me in December, we're going to hone in on the engaging curriculum to achieve meaningful goals, which was like 5 in that whole piece of the developmentally appropriate 6 key and interrelated areas of practice. So the first thing I want to remind us is that interrelated areas of practice, it's already letting us know, although they give us these 6 areas, they're letting us know that it's integrated, right? Community, creating a caring community of learners, that's a part of engaging curriculum. Engaging in reciprocal partnerships with families and fostering community connections, that's a part of engaging curriculum. But today we're going to specifically unpack that planning and engaging curriculum a little bit more. As I told you in November, the DAP is a part of this whole initiative that Naeyc has unfolded recently. Which, and I always say this is me saying, DAP is the beginning of that. And then we also are going to talk about the professional standards and competencies. As you see here, look at 5, knowledge application and integration of academic, talking about that early childhood curriculum. So I have a link for you in the resources that I'll put in for the Naeyc professional standards and competencies. And in case you were not with me in November, we have a link for the DAP as well. So here's what the competencies say about curriculum. Notice right away, they're talking about language and literacy, the arts, told you that, math, technology, engineering, physical education. So already they're telling us that you have to not only align all of these domains and all of these disciplines, we have to teach across them. We want to understand the central concepts, the methods and tools of inquiry, and the structures of each of the academic discipline. And that's so important for us because in early childhood education and care, you are the gym teacher, you are the math teacher, you are the arts teacher. Every once in a while, I may consult in a district where the children, like they have a computer class that they go to, or they may have a gym teacher that they go to. But typically, as the early childhood education and care teacher, you are that person. And even if you do in your district have like a gym teacher and the children go there, what is the curriculum? It's everything. So you might not be teaching them gym, if that's how your district works, or you might not be teaching them. They might go to library, they might have art as a period outside of your classroom, but who's the person that weaves that all together? It's us in the classroom. You understand the pedagogy. And then C, you always know I'm going to bold print, use all of this knowledge through the standard to make decisions about what? Spontaneous and plan. So there's that being responsive, right? Do we plan? Yes, we must plan, right? You plan, just like real estate, location. Of course we plan, but sometimes our children, they lead us a certain way and we need to be spontaneous and responsive. So the responsiveness is not just about children with disabilities or children who are multilingual learners, children who are in care, children who may have their family, their parent may be involved in the juvenile justice system. Sometimes that spontaneity just comes from, hey, I thought we were going to take this lesson about the earth here, and now all the kids are asking me, what happened to Pluto? You said Pluto's not a planet anymore. So I let them lead me, and I'm spontaneous, right? Because the curriculum is going to fit the inquiry and the exploration of the children, rather than me saying, we're not talking about Pluto right now. Here's the earth, we live on earth, you live in Illinois, on to the next thing, right? Now here, the DAP paper tells us how to plan an engaging curriculum. The curriculum consists of the plans for the learning experiences, right? All we want to do as teachers is give children these multiple opportunities, experiences to learn. Why did I bold print knowledge, skills, abilities, and understanding? Because the Common Core standards, which our Illinois Early Learning and Development standards are built off of, it says it is the knowledge, the behavior, the skill that children must know and be able to do. So it's not enough to just say, I taught it to them, I know they know it. What can they do with that knowledge? What can they do with that skill? What can they do with that ability? What can they do with that understanding? So right already, why am I talking about the DAP paper? Because it's right in line with what we're thinking about when it comes to the standards. So then I pulled out and said plans. What is the plan? Lesson planning. How do we know the knowledge, the skill, the ability, and the understanding? We're using our current state standards that help us know how we want to target the behavior, the knowledge, and the skills that students will acquire at the end of preschool, at the end of kindergarten, at the end of first grade, and so on. Your curriculum helps you achieve, and the engaging part comes in is because we make it culturally connected, linguistically responsive, and educationally significant. So that educationally significant means we're constantly integrating what happens in the classroom with life experiences, right? We're constantly connecting what happens in the classroom so that children can see it outside of the classroom. That's what makes it educationally significant for them. A well-designed, developmentally and culturally relevant curriculum avoids, and I usually don't read every word, but I think this is important, and counters cultural stereotypes and fosters positive learning dispositions in each area of the curriculum and in each child. Now here, my colleagues, is where we, despite what we might feel personally, we embrace culture, ethnicity. Maybe a child has two fathers. Maybe a child has two mothers. Maybe a child, their parent is Miss 14-year-old, right? But we embrace the whole child. And when we embrace the whole child, and as they say here, we want to avoid anything that counters the cultural part of that child or brings in bias or stereotype. We want to avoid that so that children can see themselves in a positive way through the curriculum, and that each child knows that we see them for who they are and we accept them for who they are. Sometimes that takes a little bit of work for us to get there, but this is the truth of developmentally appropriate, engaging curriculum. That's one reason why with ECHRS 3, they're constantly saying, do children see themselves in the book? Do you have books in your classroom that show children with disabilities? Do you have books in your classroom if you have multilingual learners? Do you have books in your classroom that are in more than one language? The Governor's Office of Early Childhood Development, they are in the process of updating their family survey. And they did the first part in English and Spanish. And then this week they came back and said, hey, we heard you. This survey is now in Polish. It is in Chinese. They did it in 3 or 4 different languages. Illinois Early Learning Project. I don't have that link here. The next time we are together, I'm going to make sure I have that link for you. If you go on the Illinois Early Learning Project website, they have several tip sheets and fact sheets. You just click English, Spanish, Polish, Chinese, and if you don't see the language you need, if you contact them, they will do the very best that they can to get that information in the language that allows you to connect with the families of the children that you're teaching. Every Student Succeeds Act says children learn more in programs where there is a knowledge-rich, well-rounded curriculum. It's planned, it's implemented, and it's got to be evidence-based. You've got to have something in writing. The written word is very, very powerful, everyone. Thank you, Karen. Karen actually just, Karen and I, we're such a good team. She actually just put this link for the Illinois Early Learning project. And I'm telling you, you can get lost on this site. Thanks, Karen. And now remember, the Every Student Succeeds Act, it caused us to have to think about what we do a little bit differently. Where is the evidence that what you are doing is going to have lasting outcomes for children? And I'm Karen, if you are, Stephanie Hurling says she can't find the link to get in the room. If there's any way you can send that to her, that would be great. And if not, we'll figure it out when we get to that part.
No problem.
Thanks, Karen. Notice every school and every program must have an evidence-based curriculum, and it needs to be in written form. As I was saying before, the written word is powerful, but also when you're sharing with your families, you want to be able to say, you know, this is not like, I had this bright idea, I decided let's do this today. You're looking at the standards, you're using the tool, which is the curriculum. Anissa, I specifically want to say to you, but to everyone, so does that mean that I can only use, you know, Houghton Mifflin, McGraw-Hill? No, because there are some emergent practices, right, that we want to combine. That's that integrating and implementing curriculum. There are some emergent practices that might be specific to the constituent, and I say constituent because the truth is the children are our clients. If it weren't for them, there's no need for us. And we can look around and see what's happening today, right? When stores don't have clients, what are we seeing? Everything must go for sales sign. Like, you don't need a salesperson if there's no person coming in the store. So when I say client, it kind of makes us think about students a little different when we start calling them our constituents, our clients, right? It makes them so much more important. They're not just those kids. They are the reason why we are there. And it is true that there are some emergent practices that have not quite reached that evidence base, and the Every Student Succeeds Act literally defined evidence base. They didn't leave any, you know, like, I guess evidence base is this or that. No, it is defined across a spectrum. Evidence base starts here, 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 and on that rung is emergent curriculum. So yes, you want that evidence-based curriculum that is in writing, and it is okay to include within that something that is emergent, so long as it's aligned with what? The standards. Whoop, whoop. You would think those people are paying me to say that over and over again. They're not. I'm just a standards head in life, right? Use of a formal, validated curriculum. You do not lose your power. You're the boss of that curriculum. You know your students, you know your families, you know when your students are ready to move on, you know when they need you to pause and stay on something a little bit more. So a formal, validated curriculum does not mean you do not exemplify your expertise as the educator to be flexible, to adapt units and activities to meet the interests and experiences of each group of children. And before we go on, I'm going to share with you on, I am definitely watching the time here. And this is literally a true story. Years ago, I was consulting with the district. And one of the reasons I was consulting with the district is the teachers, they just felt bound by their curriculum. I mean, if it was 5 minutes and they were supposed to stop reading, the children could have been enthralled in a story like this. They would stop that book. Okay, it's time for, and the kids would be like, oh, what happened to Jack and the Beanstalk? The teachers really didn't know they were the boss of the curriculum. Over time, they really learned how to implement the curriculum, but let the children lead them. And this was the actual classroom where they were doing the study on, you know, Earth and the planets. And the teacher was reading the book and Pluto wasn't in the book because scientists said Pluto was no longer a planet. Well, this particular child in her classroom went home and was sharing with their family, and their family member pulled out a book about science, and it had Pluto. So this child came back and said, my mom says Pluto, you know, what happened to Pluto? And the teacher was saying, well, Pluto isn't a planet anymore. These children were appalled. Well, what happened to Pluto? Where is it at? I was so proud of this teacher. She just let them run with it. They said, let's go find Pluto. She brought in cardboard boxes. They actually built a rocket ship, and each child would have a chance to get in this rocket ship and go up into space to look for Pluto. And they would come back and say, no, I didn't find Pluto. She created graphs. Who found Pluto? Where do we think Pluto is? This one lesson, actually, she let it go a whole quarter. Math was brought in, science was brought in, they were building, the arts was brought in. She didn't say, well, creative curriculum says you're only supposed to talk about this 5 days. I don't know where Pluto is. I told you Pluto doesn't exist. We're moving on. She's the boss, just like you are the boss. You remember these key factors? The key word here is you're combining them. What's your desired goal? Also, I want you to know, look at the bottom. It says the goal has been identified and clearly articulated. It's comprehensive. You've got targeted and identified goals across all the domains. The curriculum framework is used in your planning. You've got your important goals, and for us, it's always those descriptors, and it's coherent. And then educators make meaningful connections, a priority, and the learning experience. So just like that teacher did, this child went home. Obviously, the child is excited. They're talking to their family about it. The family gets engaged. They get out a book about the planets. Little old school, obviously, because the new books don't have Pluto in it, but the teacher allowed that learning experience to come into the classroom, and it was so enriching for all of the students and for her as well, she found. And then we remember young children learn best when the concepts, language, and the skills they encounter are related to things they know and care about. It is okay to know what their interests are and integrate that into what we're doing. Here's the last one. That part that is in yellow, that's me, my poetic license. We want to connect with ages below us and above us. We should be connecting with our community-based partners, our charter school partners, our private school partners as well. And then finally, although it varies across the age span, that planned and written curriculum, it is important for all ages across the early childhood spectrum, which is birth to age 8. I'm going to ask you to take 30 seconds, not a minute, because I see Stephanie has been able to log on. Just write down one idea that's kind of like you from what we've talked about from the DAP paper, that you'd say, you know what, that's something that I could think about tomorrow to begin around, to build my professional practice, either my professional practice, my program, or my district. Just a starting point. Doesn't have to be everything, just a starting point. And as you're doing that, oh, I'm so excited. Head Start Early Learning Outcomes Framework. Now you're gonna notice right away, it says birth to 5. Please don't tune out, because as we go on, you're gonna see that connection of birth to 5 and how it can spring forward into kindergarten. The framework, again, there's that know and be able to do. And I might say that the Head Start framework, when the Common Core standards came out, Head Start was the first people to correlate their framework with the standards. Now, you've seen this before. I'm bringing this back again because of what they just said here. What children need to know and be able to do during the early learning years. That means we're connecting. Early Head Start connects with Head Start. PI connects with PFA, PFAE. PFAE connects with kindergarten. We connect with community-based. And then although it varies across the age span, it's still important. So the Head Start is ages birth to 5, but if we look at what the DAP paper told us, that's going to spread out. And if we build it very well from age 0 to 5, it will go with them when they enter kindergarten. It is an interactive framework. And that last part of the sentence is the one I like the most. We're not just talking about school. It's school and long-term success. Long after our children remember who we were when they were in 5 or 4 in kindergarten, the seed you're planting, the reason you're on here tonight, you said, I want to be a better educator. I know I'm a great teacher. I want to be a greater teacher. That's the seed that greatness is the seed you're planting in your children. And that's what long-term success looks like. So now let's take a look at the framework, everyone. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to actually pull it up and show it to you. So give me just a minute. I'm going to do that. Can you all see this? Can you see my screen? Anybody give me a thumbs up? Thanks, Kayla. This is the best interactive framework for curriculum that I've seen. And so that's why I'm sharing it with you all. As you can see, I could never have done this justice by trying to put it on a slide here or there. You do have the link for this. Look at this, everyone. They have infant and toddler. The domains are approaches to learning, social and emotional development, language and literacy, cognition, perceptual, motor, and physical development. You already know what I'm going to do. Boop, approaches to learning. So remember when I said, yes, they're talking about birth to 5, but the DAP paper already told us that it goes beyond that to birth to age 8. Look at this. The Kindergarten Individual Development Survey, one of the 5 readiness domains, in fact, the first one is approaches to learning. So right here, the Head Start framework, and this is what you do. You click it. When you click it, look at this, everyone. I was just screaming. Preschool approaches to learning subdomains: emotional and behavior self-regulation, cognitive self-regulation, executive functioning, initiative and curiosity. Do we need to say play-based learning? We could say initiative and curiosity-based learning, creativity-based learning. And as you go down, now for our Head Start partners, it gives you that specific, like we would have the standard, it gives you that specific ATL here, but it goes across 36 month, 48 month, 48 to 60 month, and it tells you by 60 months. So there's again that, what do we want them to be by the time they're 5? It gives it to us. As you continue to scroll down, look at all of these resources. Front Porch Series, Effective Practices Guides, Approaches to Learning, 15-minute in-service suites for our administrators, schedules and routines, Oh, didn't we just talk about following children's leads? Just keep on going. Read more. School readiness, early learning outcomes. So yes, this is specific to Head Start. Could we not, if we are a Preschool for All program, Preschool for All expansion, look at how they have integrated their framework and use that to help us implement and integrate an engaging curriculum. Social and emotional, I'll do that one real quick. Look at this, relationships with adults. You all don't want me to get my standard book back out again, because that's one of the standards. It's also an Illinois early learning guideline, and it's also within the kindergarten individual development survey. Relationships with other children, emotional functioning, sense of identity and belonging. And anytime you click one of those, it opens up so much. You can either click here, you can scroll. Teacher Time series, help me calm down. Teaching children how to cope with their big emotions. You click that. I mean, come on. Little Scientists, Exploring STEAM, Birth to 5. This, I mean, again, I couldn't even put this, what slide could this go on? You do have the link for this. Again, it's Head Start. Well, I'm a Preschool for All program. I'm in a district. Good evidence-based practice is good evidence-based practice. This is something you can get lost in. Language and community literacy, mathematics development. I mean, it just goes on and on. Again, you have the link for that. So that you can really take time to explore it. I want you to take a minute to write down the ELOF domain that you think would be a good starting point for you. And then, whoo, it's 5:21. As you're writing down, I want to yield the floor to, I want to remind you of this, screenshot this, click. So I'll see you in January 11th. I want to yield the floor to Stephanie Hurling, who is the president of Illinois AEYC. She's got some interesting things to talk to us about. So Stephanie, take it away. I'm so glad you were able to get in.
Oh, it's been a crazy day. Let me get this open. So thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. And
Okay,
just let me know, I have the dates for those, so just let me know when you want me to move the slide forward.
Perfect. Yeah, so I was definitely excited. Sorry, I'm at my daughter's tutoring right now, so I have a mask on, but I was excited to be invited to join you tonight. We are doing a professional outreach to kind of engage all professionals, to kind of hear directly from you what you need as a professional from a professional organization like Illinois AEYC, so that we can best serve all of the early childhood members across the state. So if you want to flip over to the dates, the first one starts tonight. I
didn't put that one on, Stephanie, because I didn't know if it was already filled or not. So I just put the 5th and the 14th.
Yeah, not a problem. And it's not full. So if you're interested, just shoot me a message and I'll get you that link. I know Leanne's on here as well. I saw her name, so maybe we can drop that link in if we have it. But yeah, it's the same format for all of the nights. So the 5th and the 14th will also be meeting. If you can't meet any of those times and have an opinion, you can always email me directly at stephaniehurling@gmail.com, and I can add that into the chat as well. And we would love to hear, what are you needing? What is missing? We don't want to duplicate services. We are all volunteers and we want our members to really get what they need. And if you're not a member, we'd love to have you join and become part of our membership organization. So we'd love to hear what you as an early childhood professional feels like you need from the field.
And there's their Facebook page link. And then, as she said, if you were interested in becoming a member, you would go to Naeyc and be sure you select Illinois AEYC as the affiliate. And in a little short, like Stephanie doesn't want to hear me say this, but if you just blink, boom, it'll be 2022, and their biannual conference is in October of 2022. Oh my gosh, they had to pivot. They were one of the first organizations to have to pivot and do virtual for 2020, the October
correct.
2020. Prayerfully, we'll all get to be face-to-face October 2022. If not, don't you dare miss it. And I'm not just saying this because I was
We're
Go
going
ahead,
face to face. We are locked in face to face, whether we have 10 people or 200. We're locked in. The conference is October 12th through 13th and 14th. So we will do some free stuff on the 11th. I hope I'm getting that right. Leanne, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the 12th, 13th, and 14th of October in Springfield, Illinois, at Crown Plaza.
I just wrote it down. I'm so excited. And if anyone is available, is it at what time tonight, Stephanie?
8 p.m. tonight.
So if you're available tonight, you can jump on, and I don't know how long these are. You can stay on for a little bit or for a whole lot. If not, here are the dates for December 5th. I'm going to go back so you can see December 5th at 7:30, December 14th at 8:30. Grab your pajamas and popcorn and just spend some time talking with Stephanie and her team. The advocating that they do in this state with the legislative body and they partner a lot with the governor's office of early childhood development, National Louis University, just so much. It's just really incredible. And they are, I would say, the Head Start and community-based champions of the state. And I told you all this before when we put this together. Illinois AEYC partnered with ECPL to get all of these out so that we could make sure community-based partners know of these opportunities and are able to register. That was Illinois AEYC that partnered with ECPL to do that. And this is the most variety of community-based programs that we've ever had. And I've been presenting with ECPL for many, many years. So thanks to Illinois AEYC for that. Look at that. It's 5:26, everyone. Denise, I did see you were looking for the link. Karen, can I just create a page for them? Or while you're closing out, I can just start putting these links in the chat. What's the best way to do?
Sure, you can type it in the chat and anybody can save the chat. Just click on the 3 little dots in the chat and you can save the whole chat for yourself.
Okay, so while Karen is closing us out, hey, thank you all so much for joining me starting in September. Like everybody was like, still getting their head on straight. You all joined me in September. You've been coming back strong all the way through. I don't know if you celebrate any holiday or no holiday or all of them. Know that my blessings, my prayers, my everything to each of you, your families, your school community. You have it. Whenever you can, get some rest, and when this holiday period comes up or this winter break period comes up, and I really do look forward to seeing you in January, and I'm going to get these links in there so that you can save them and